It is indeed a great honor and pleasure for me to welcome all of you this evening at India House as we celebrate the 73rd Republic Day of the world's largest and most vibrant democracy, India. On this day, 72 years ago, the citizens of the newly independent India gave themselves a constitution that became our founding document. This is a day for all Indians to celebrate, to honor our nation and our sovereignty. This is also a day when we remember with gratitude the efforts and sacrifices of millions of freedom fighters whose blood and toil gave us independence. The Constitution of India is the lengthiest one in the world, but its preamble sums up its guiding principles: democracy, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. These principles form the bedrock on which the Republic of India stands. Excellencies and distinguished guests, 26th January was perhaps more important in India's history and struggle for freedom than 15th of August. While the British eventually handed over power on 15th of August 1947, the Indian National Congress, in its Lahore session of 1930, had announced India's resolve to win Purna Swaraj, which is complete independence, and declared 26th January 1930 as our Purna Swaraj Day, which is the complete day of independence. Thus, though our constitution was enacted and adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26th November 1949, which we now celebrate as the Constitution Day, it was actually made effective 2 months later on 26th January 1950 to coincide the Purna Swaraj Day that was declared 2 decades earlier. In the early years of India's independence, Excellencies and distinguished guests, our country faced myriad of problems that many obituaries were written of the new nation. Several commentators predicted that India would descend into civil war, balkanize into many parts, experience mass famine, or become a military dictatorship. Fortunately for us, none of these happened. It goes to the credit of the strong institutions of democracy built by our founders that for the last 7.5 decades, Indian democracy has thrived to become an oasis of stability and hope. Excellencies, distinguished guests, to give you all a perspective on how India was affected by the foreign rule, India had a share of 24.5% of the world manufacturing output, while the UK had only 1.9% in 1750, that is about 272 years ago. 7 years before the British East India Company tasted their first major military success through the Battle of Plassey. 1 out of every 4 goods was then manufactured in India. 1 out of the 4 goods manufactured in the world was manufactured in India. By 1900, that is in about 150 years later, India was left with only 1.7% of the world manufacturing output, while the Britain had risen to 18.5%. The Western Industrial Revolution was in its incipient stages in the 18th century. But even in this regard, India slipped from 7 to 1 in per capita industrialization in that period, while Britain had vaulted from 10 to 100. Between 1900 and 1947, India's economic growth was an abysmal annual average of 1% only. From such lows, the free India first climbed to 3% growth and later achieved a GDP growth of more than 8%. I would like to summarize what India has achieved since its independence. India is today the fastest growing amongst the major economies of the world. We are today the fifth largest economy in absolute terms, the third largest reservoir of scientific and technological manpower, the third largest army, the sixth member of the nuclear club, and a formidable space power with proven capabilities. And India is now a leading exporter of food and agricultural commodities as well. India is the only country to successfully send an interplanetary mission to Mars on its very first attempt, on its maiden attempt, that too at a very, very nominal cost. We are also working to launch a manned space mission soon. India is very proud of its 32 plus million strong diaspora abroad, who are contributing immensely to their host countries as well as to India. Today, a whole range of world's leading companies and tech giants like IBM, Cognizant, Adobe, Google, Microsoft, Nokia, etc. are led by the CEOs of Indian origin. While our success has been immense in the past 75 years of our existence as a free nation, we do realize that we have still to cover an enormous ground to become a fully developed country. It is hence a still work in progress for us. Excellencies and distinguished guests, the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted economic growth everywhere and posed many, many challenges. Our government has taken this unprecedented challenge as an opportunity and has introduced a slew of economic reforms in many sectors. India has administered more than 1.6 billion vaccines in a year. On an average, 7 million doses are now being administered every single day. The digital infrastructure that India has developed and adopted over the years has become a huge strength and major talking point in the world today. During the pandemic, the world has experienced how India, following PM Modi's vision of One Earth, One Health, provided essential medicines and vaccines to many countries. GOI, as the government of India, has done this in a spirit of South-South cooperation and in recognition of the fact that no one is safe until everyone is safe. India is one of the world's largest pharma producers, and it is rightly called the pharmacy of the world. India's health professionals and doctors are winning everyone's trust through their skill and expertise all over the world. India's IT sector has taken the world by storm. India is supplying a record number of software professionals to the world. More than 5 million software professional developers are working in India. India also has the third largest number of unicorns in the world. More than 10,000 startups have been registered in the past 6 months alone. Today, India also has a huge, secure and successful digital payments platform. Excellencies and distinguished guests, global warming is one of the most challenging issues of today, and it is impacting everybody's life. India, with 17% of the world's population, contributes only about 5% in global carbon emissions. Nevertheless, our commitment to tackle climate change is 100%. India has therefore set a target of net zero emission by 2070. Global initiatives like the International Solar Alliance and Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure and Climate Adaptation are proof of this. As a result of the efforts of the past years, today 40% of our energy mix is coming from non-fossil fuel sources. India has also been a force for global good, and a stronger, self-reliant India would support an inclusive growth, peace, security, and rules-based order in the world. If India progresses, 1/6 of the humanity also progresses. Excellencies and distinguished guests, coming to India-Africa relations, India sees African priorities and challenges as our own. Our trade and maritime links with Africa, as well as the people-to-people contacts and centuries-old maritime links, our shared experiences of long freedom struggle to come out of the colonial rule and as independent nations, our continued pursuit for the overall development of our people. All these tightly bond us together. Djibouti has a pivotal role in the Horn of Africa for the peace, security, and development of the region. We greatly value our bilateral relations with the Republic of Djibouti, and it is bound to get deeper and broader. We are happy with the very recent artificial limbs fitment camp held at the military hospital, where 200 Djiboutian beneficiaries were fitted with the world-famous Jaipur foot. The Mahatma Gandhi Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship in Djibouti stands as a proud symbol of India-Djibouti friendship. Djibouti is a country endowed with a youthful population, and the youth hold the key to the future of this great nation. We are keen to expand our cooperation with Djibouti in the areas of capacity building, skill development of their workforce, and promote cooperation and exchanges in diverse fields like MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, renewable energy, science and technology, blue economy, etc. Through our long-standing partnership with Djibouti, we wish to continue contributing towards Djibouti's economic development and positive influence in the region. Now, may I raise a toast for the sound health and long life of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, the Honorable President of the Republic of Djibouti, as well as for the success, prosperity, and well-being of the people of Djibouti.